So I just sat down here and talked for probably 15 minutes and it wasn't recording. Wow. Wow. Okay. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how to apply for funding from NEDCO for your business. And I'm not going to touch on how do you get approved because I didn't get approved. Now, this is for a sole trader type business because that's the business that I registered and that's the only information that I am privy to. Alright, so I'm gonna go through the list of documentation that you need to provide for the application, and I'll also leave that in the description down below. So the first thing you need are two forms of identification. That would be your national ID, passport, or driver's permit, two passport size photos. You need your proof of address of the sole trader, so that will be you, and that has to be either a TNTech bill or a WASA bill. Now you also need proof of address for your business location. So if this is the same as your home address, if the home is not in your name, then you would need a letter of permission to operate business at the home location from the owner of the home. And if you are renting or leasing, then of course you need a copy of that lease agreement or rental agreement for your business location. Now these documents are only based on the type of business that you have. So if you have a food business, then you need to bring in your food badge. And if it is you have some sort of business where you got contracted to do a job, they would need you to provide a copy of that contract service agreement. So that would be, I guess, if the government kind of contracted you to do some sort of work and you need additional funding for whatever reason, whatever equipment, then you need to provide that information. So you also need a copy of your job letter and most recent payslip. You need a copy of your business registration certificate, and you need a copy of your Board of Inland Revenue certificate. Now for sole traders, this will be your personal BIR letter that states your BIR number on it. And you also would need the invoices or quotations from the suppliers that you want to get your equipment, raw materials, or whatever it is you need from them. Now, I'm not sure how important this factor is, but I didn't really get any problems with providing the invoices as they are, but they do want you to make the suppliers put on the invoices that they accept government checks. And even in one case, I was able to get the supplier to make the invoice out to NEDCO themselves because the check would be coming from NEDCO. However, one of my quotations had my business name and it didn't have "we accept government checks" on it, but they still accepted it anyway. And the last thing I want to talk about, which is the most important thing, is your collateral. So this can be in the form of unit trust shares, it can be a fixed deposit with a bank, it could be life insurance, it could also be equipment or a vehicle. And equipment could be anything like appliances, even computers, printers, those sorts of things. Another thing to note about the collateral is that based on the type of items that you are seeking funding for, they can use that in and of itself as collateral. So you don't necessarily have to come out with any collateral based on what you're seeking funding for. So if you're seeking funding, for example, for a computer, they will use the computer as collateral for the loan. One other thing to note is that they do not provide funding for construction. So if you were thinking to get money from NEDCO to build up your apartment, no. no liquid cash and no construction. So it would have to be buying equipment, like furniture and furnishings and stuff like that, but not the construction of the actual building. They do not finance that. So after you put in your application and you have all your documents, they're going to call you in for an interview. Now, based on the current situation, as there being a pandemic, you may get a phone interview. That is the type of interview that I got, but I'm pretty sure on a regular they usually do the interview in person. Now, my interview was actually 2 calls, one on a Monday, one on a Friday. Now, the first call, the lady that I got, she was very nice on the first call, gave me a lot of good advice, tried to make me comfortable because I was afraid to let her know exactly what my product was. And she tried to make me comfortable, but I was still kind of fearful because it was something that I invented and I didn't want the idea to be stolen. I don't know, I was very, very paranoid. So since then I have launched my product. If you want to see more about the products and services that I provide, please follow my Facebook page. There's links in the description, and there's where I will share like where I'm launching my products and what you could actually buy from me. Now, I had a difficult time with the interview, mainly because I wasn't sure, and I'm still trying to get clarity on my business, because it was so difficult to kind of hone in what I'm actually doing with my business, especially if I am designing and creating things. It could amount to anything, and I really tried to put a lot of different categories under my business so that any products that I do create or invent could fall under that umbrella. However, the ministry did not like that. They wanted to put me in a specific box and really not allow me to have a lot of different things under my business. Now, when I explained what I eventually boiled down my company to, which was the manufacture and production of self-care products and provision of graphic design services, that's what I had to put in order to get my business certificate. However, what I really wanted to do was a slightly different, but the graphic design services, I let my product, which is called the bill card, fall under this because it's something I designed and then printed. So it's more what I would say a graphically designed product, not really a service, but they didn't want me to put that on my certificate. So I was trying to explain to her what it is without giving it away, which I couldn't because the product is so simple. It would have been a dead giveaway, and that actually made me be categorized in having like a business idea and not really where I reached the point in my business where I have validated this idea and now I'm just looking for funding to like kind of help move the business along. So because of that, she couldn't really pitch my product to get funding, and she gave me a lot of advice. She also tried to make me very comfortable in sharing what the product actually is, and I did have to assure her that I do have a prototype, but again I was afraid to show her, and she tried to make me comfortable. She said, this is going to be something confidential, and I told her, well, I wanted to talk to a lawyer, about copyright protection and stuff like that. And she was like, that's a whole long process that takes a lot of money and it mightn't even be worth it. And it's better if you just do mass marketing to produce awareness of your product so that everybody knows you are the person who came up with it and nobody could now steal it without it being widely known that they stole it from you. So That was some good advice, and I decided, well, that's probably what I'll have to do, even though I have no marketing budget to even think of doing something like that. And also, I have like no, I don't have a mass following on social media. So, it's a lot to think about, and it's what I thought about for like a week. So she called me Monday, and I had to call her back Friday when I was finally able to just explain to her what my product was and just bite the bullet. I prayed on it, talked to friends about it, and I was like, well, I have to go through with it. I have to do it. I have to trust that she says that this is confidential and none of this will get out. And the nice, accommodating, very good advice given person I got on Monday was not the same person I got on Friday. It was like night and day. I don't know what happened, and it was very, it's very unfortunate. It was very jarring, because I explained to her what my product was, and she was just literally like, how are you going to get people to buy it? So I was like, beg your pardon. I heard her, but I said, beg your pardon. And she's like, how are you going to get people to buy it? I would just write out my stuff and put it in a piece of paper in my purse. And it just really threw me off, because I I was like, well, I can't make anybody do anything. Like, I can't make anybody buy something. Like, you could have a really good product, but you can't make anybody do anything, right? And it even at that point, before I started taking these business courses and learning stuff online, I knew that that's not how you approach that issue. And it's a marketing question you'd ask me. So you really want to ask me, well, how do you plan to market this product? Because I personally wouldn't buy this product. So I'm just interested in how you'll find people who are actually interested in purchasing this product, right? She's supposed to take herself out of it. If I'm selling something that is for children, you're not a child, you won't buy it. It doesn't mean that my product isn't good or isn't valid. But I guess because it was something new or something I invented, it was much more adverse to being funded. So I just thought it was very upsetting to me, because I thought it was a good idea, and I needed the printer in order to produce my bill cards. And I after that, I usually get upset, and then I fuel that emotion into more action. So I sourced a printer, an old printer from my aunt, to produce the cards. And right now I am marketing it. I went through a 8-week coaching program to validate my product. I am marketing it right now, and I have, as the recording of this video, I have one order. And it's been probably 4 months since I applied for NEDCO funding. The only contact I got was that they have a lot of applications processing, and so it will be a while, and that's about it. I don't think that I will get approved, mainly because I I was supposed to, I guess, pitch my product and convince somebody who would never buy from me to buy from me, which is not something you should be doing as a business owner. You need to seek the people who would be your customers and market to them, right? You don't market to people who will never buy from you. That's not good business. So it was very off-putting. I really feel like you, as a person working, should not base something on personal opinion. And very, very upsetting. But so my advice would be, make sure you have your stuff in order, because basically you have to pitch your product and you have to have a validated business in order to convince them to give you any money, which they won't be giving you any liquid cash anyway. It would be raw materials or equipment, right? And I am curious to know if anybody has gotten funding from NEDCO in the past. Please leave a comment down below, and any advice you give other people seeking funding from NEDCO. And I definitely will make a video if for some strange reason I get funding from NEDCO. I mean, maybe if I become famous for my product that I invented or something like that, they might come out of the woodworks and be like, oh, we funded her business with, we gave her the printer to make her bill cards and or some crap like that. It's a real choky man thing in our country, right? So yeah. So if you want to find out more about my business journey, how I set up my business, and all the challenges and trials and anything that I learned along the way, you can check out this playlist here, and I'll see you in my next video.